pounds?
No, I ordered 200.
What is beef?
You still got that meat connect?
You get $12.50 for that on eBay.
Boom.
You cut vegetables like a bitch.
Not system. System, baby.
System. This is your brother's house. I was running it fine without you.
Why didn't he leave it to you then? Don't wipe your hands on your apron, chef.
Jeff.
I refer to everybody as chef because it's a sign of respect.
You could throw down, huh?
So how you gonna pass the family test? Delicious or impressive?
Delicious is impressive.
Word.
Yo, family's up.
I just never had plátanos with like grass on it.
We want to change this restaurant, right? But we have to change the chemistry.
Why are you always like watching me?
Because it's just sort of my job.
Where the chili flakes? Cousin organizes, it's more confusing.
Right there. Labeled chili flakes.
This is a delicate ecosystem, and it's held together by a shared history and love.
I have every intention of turning this into a respectable place of business. Eventually.
Time to try the new sandwiches.
Yo, this shit looks different.
What do you think?
It's redundant and white, just like you.
Hi, I'm Richard Esteras, and you're listening to Monday Morning Critic Podcast.
Richard, so I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Researching your life, Richard, I love this movie quote. It's from The Natural. It says, "We live two lives, the one we learn with and the one we live with after that." I feel like your 20s was the life you learned with. Is that a fair?
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I've learned a lot in my 20s.
So whatever you want to say, Richard, I'll leave it open to you, what you're comfortable saying, because I think your life is just so fascinating and how you got to where you are today. I think it's a great story.
Okay. Well, you want me to go back to my 20s, or as far as
you could say whatever you'd like. I mean, the reason I bring that up, but I want to let you take it from there. I'm not going to, interject what I think or what I read, but whatever you want to say. I want to hear your story.
Okay. Well, as far as in my 20s, I got into like a criminal lifestyle. Well, it wasn't like when it was a criminal lifestyle.
Yeah.
Just some friends from the neighborhood that I grew up with. I had been to college a couple of times, dropped out, and wasn't sure where I was going with my life. Had a newborn daughter, didn't know what to do. I was working I had worked a little while at a Dominos. I had a '76 Buick LeSabre doing deliveries, and so that was the gas guzzler right there. And then I went into security, working like security at grocery stores and stuff, minimum wage jobs. But it kind of got me into guns, working security. And my friends that they were already living a criminal type lifestyle. They were, they just, they were interested more in me because of this, and I got caught up in that lifestyle. They were selling drugs in the neighborhood, and I just got involved in it with them. And next thing you know, I'm facing time in prison.
Yeah. Richard, when do you have that moment where you're like, you know what, I'm getting too old for this, or that moment where you're like, you know what, this is not my life anymore? Like, when do you come to that moment, Richard?
Well, I had been arrested a few times, and I guess I didn't learn the first couple of times because I'm going back. But it was the third time I went, they didn't give me a bond or anything. I couldn't get out at all, and my second day in the county jail, I got into a fight with some guys, and next thing you know, I'm in solitary confinement.
Yeah. And
23-hour day lockdown, and like the week before, I'm out on the streets partying and stuff. So it was like a big transition for me, and sitting in that cell, and I was like sweating out the alcohol and cocaine that I've been using, and I just realized I didn't want this life.
Yeah.
I felt like it was kind of late at that point, but I didn't want that life anymore, and I felt like while I was in the county jail, I had to, most people go into county jail, they feel like you got to act a certain way to survive in the jail. like you see these shows they have on the cable where they have real life situations in jail or whatever. They try to act a tough persona, and I didn't do that. I just tried to be a nice person and get along with everybody and just keep out of trouble.
Yeah, yeah. And your 30s are kind of low key, and your 40s is where your acting career starts to formulate. Is that correct, Richard?
That is correct.
Yeah. So talk to me about that change in your life, right? So, and obviously the 20s is your personal life, but I read it on your Facebook, so it's not too. I don't want you to think I was going digging or anything, but
Right,
but I think but I think it's important, Richard, because listen, everyone has their tough time in their life. I don't care who it is. It doesn't have to mean jail or this or that. I mean, everyone has those times where it's a wake up call. I mean, I've had that. Other people, but I love how you turn that into where you are today. I think it's just a fascinating story. So just talk about how you decide. You know what, acting might be, and it wasn't this simple. But how do you decide acting? This might be for me.
Okay, well, as a child, I've always had an interest in acting, but going to school growing up, nobody ever tells you can become an actor. It's more like, oh, doctor, lawyer, police, firefighter, things like that. So I always thought you had to be discovered to become an actor. Even as an adult, I thought, maybe if one day somebody sees me, like, oh, I like this guy or something like that, but I never tried to pursue it. So, after I got out of prison, I moved to Arizona for 13 years, and I just did normal jobs here and there.
Yeah.
And then the recession came, and I lost everything, and I moved back home, which is Gary, Indiana, which is like half hour outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
And I started looking at voiceover classes because over the years people tell me about my voice. So I started looking at that, and I saw the school acting studio in Chicago, and I started taking voiceover classes there. And then, I had I took their classes for like about 6 months.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I had a demo tape done with a couple of my instructors from the school, and they started talking to me and discussing my future in voiceover, and they were telling me like, hey, you have a great voice, but you also have a unique look about yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, and they was like, try to take some acting and improv classes. If you decide you don't want to get into acting, you could still use it for voiceover. It'll help you out in your voiceover career.
Right.
So I took their advice, and I took improv classes first and did that for a year. And then I took acting classes, and I fell in love with it. And
yeah. Yeah. And did you go to Second City, Richard? Were you a Second City guy?
Yeah, I went to Second City for improv.
Yeah. How tough is that's a well-known improv place, right? That's a really well-known.
Yeah, there's a lot of famous comedians that come. A lot of people from SNL.
Yeah.
Second City.
Ever get overwhelming for you? I mean, that's a lot. What you just said is a lot to digest, right? So that's a lot of schooling, a lot of experience, a lot of, especially like Second City. That's like so prestigious. Was that ever overwhelming for you, all of that?
Yeah, at first it was like I didn't know what I was getting. I didn't even know what improv was. When I signed up for Second City, and I got there, and it was like, oh my God, I can be an adult and be a kid at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like I could bring my youth out and just do anything, and it was just so much fun. And I didn't know where it was taking me. I just took it for a whole year. I was like, I completed the course, and I was going to sign up for the conservatory, and with that, you have to have at least one acting class, and that's when I started taking acting class. But I never signed up for the conservatory because I just continued with the acting classes, and next thing you know, I needed to get a headshot, and then I went. I didn't know what to do for a headshot.
Yeah.
So I went and like out in the street and took a selfie of myself and went to Walgreens and took a photo and was using that as headshots. And then I saw something online about a worst headshot contest. Like if you submit your headshot and people vote that you have the worst headshot, you could win free headshots. And I did it and I won. And then after I got the headshot, I posted it online, like on Facebook and all that. And there was a director, he was doing an indie film, and he saw my headshot and asked me to audition. And I got a role, and ever since then, I've been acting.
Wow, that's amazing. We talk about the rest of your career, which is amazing. I love the fact that you're a dog dad. I mean, you're a father in real life, but you're a dog dad too, right? So
Right.
tell me, and I hope I'm going to mutilate these names. Is it Chavallo and Chibo? Do I have that right?
Chavallo and Chiba.
Yeah.
And Chancla.
Yeah. So you have 3 dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a dog guy like I am. I have 3 dogs as well. I probably should have started off with this, but like when I saw how much you into your dogs and love them, like that just it melts my heart because I get it. Like people who own dogs get it. Talk about that part of your life that you know, just what dogs can do for you, man. Like they're just so special.
Oh yeah, well these dogs I've had them since the day when they were born. I've had their parents as well.
Wow.
Their parents were Chico and Chili. The thing about Chico, I got him after I got out of prison when I moved to Arizona. Like about a year or so later, I got him into my life, and he was my everything. Like when I lived in Arizona, if you knew me, you knew Chico.
Yeah.
So you know he was my everything, and then you know he started having kids, and I would like keep one here, keep one there, just to keep a part of him going on. And now I have 3 dogs now. They're seniors. I have 2 15-year-olds and a 12-year-old, and you know they've been my life. They've been like I've made decisions in life because of them. Because
oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Like when I tell you when in the recession, you know, I had to move back home.
Yeah.
Like I was homeless for like 2 days before I finally moved back, and I had my dogs with me, and people were like, you know, like just give them up and start your life over and stuff. And I had already lost everything else. I didn't want to lose my dogs too, but you know, and they're still with me. So
that is awesome, Rich. I mean, it's not awesome that you were homeless, but that's awesome that you're such a kind person. Like so many people would have given them up, but you didn't let them go. That's I think that speaks volumes about who you are as a person, Richard.
Yeah, I used to see on the news during the recession, like people would buy homes, and then the recession came and they had to give up their homes, and they would just abandon their dogs in the house or whatever, and it was like common going on, and then I was like, I could never do that. I couldn't live a happy life knowing that I did something like that to my pets.
Yeah, I had a guest a while back that kind of said the same thing. You know, it wasn't his fault. His dad was His dad was not nice to him, but like he was like, yeah, we left the dog behind. Like I couldn't let that go. Like I would, like my dog right now is sleeping to the right of me right now. He's 10 years old. Like, and I could never give him up no matter what. I mean, and I don't know how you're right. People were just leaving everything behind, including the animals.
Right.
I don't know how you do that. I don't get it. Like to me, I don't know. I don't want to get philosophical, but it's,
right.
You know, but I get it. And the fact that you did that while you were going through a difficult time in your life, like I said, that's pretty amazing, Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go to like places to get food, and I had to give it to them because, you know, I couldn't afford dog food for them at the time. And yeah, it was pretty hard, but, you know, I still had them all their lives. And
that's awesome. Richard, when you go on shoots, do you bring them with you?
No.
Yeah.
I did one time. I had to do a shoot in Oklahoma, and, you know, one of my dogs, all 3 of my dogs are on medication now, but one of them, she's on heart medication, and she's so stubborn about taking her medicine that I wanted to take with me, but you know, the plane ride would have been too much for her because, you know, she has heart murmurs, and
yeah, and
just being in a different location, and, you know, being alone while I'm on set all day, and so I had to train my family to like, instead of training the dog, I was training my family how to deal with her. But you know, I haven't taken her on any sets with me.
And you're a big time family guy too, right? You're all about your family. Like, I mean, it's amazing how you really put family first, you know, and not everyone does that, Richard.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I love my family. I have 4 grandkids, 1 granddaughter,
Wow.
3 grandsons, and 1 daughter. But yeah.
Pretty impressive. You know, that's fantastic. Where are you out of now, Richard? I know your earlier life was it Indiana, Arizona? You spent your early life.
Well, I was born in El Paso, Texas. I grew up in Gary, Indiana, and then, you know, after I got out of prison, I moved to Arizona, and then moved back to Indiana ever since.
Very nice. Yeah, very nice. And just looking at your career here, we talk about a career that you're in now, right? And I can maybe guess this, but is there an actor or a movie? And I get why you came to love acting, but is there an actor, and I ask this a lot, or a movie that you really fell in love with that you've liked your entire life?
Oh, I have I guess a few movies that I've like
I'd love to hear them.
Like I like Al Pacino movies. I love Carlito's Way.
Oh, so underrated. So good.
That movie, like I cry at the end when he gets killed. Like,
yeah, it's awesome. And people talk about all those movies in that type of genre. That's left out, and it's just as good as anything else in that genre.
Yeah, that's a great.
That's a good one. Good call.
I like when I was a kid, I remember watching Bad Boys with Sean Penn and Isai Morales.
Yeah,
and I was like so scared of watching that movie because it was based in Chicago and they were like teenagers going to jail, and I was like, oh my god, I never wanted like that. Like,
Richard, you're the second guest to bring up Bad Boys in 2 weeks. Like, that's a powerful movie with actors. I think you're the second person to talk about that.
That's oh my god, that movie was like, I was scared to get in trouble as a teen. I was like, no way. What
does he fill the sack with? I was talking about, was it soap or was it cans of soda? It's one or the other, right? It was something.
Yeah, it was cans of soda, I think. Yeah, it was. I think he went through the vending machine.
Yes. I think about that scene a lot. But let's talk about this wonderful show, The Bear. Holy cow!
Okay.
Why do you think, Richard, people are all over this? Because people, people watch shows on TV. Yeah, I get that. But The Bear has gotten hype. That's it's in the rarefied. It's not in the middle of the pack. It is like, what do you think it is about The Bear, Richard, that is so that takes people into a point where they have to see it? They have to tell other people, you have to see this show, right? Because I was going to watch it, but 3-4 people said, listen, this show is great. It's great. When I watched it, hooked. What do you think it is, Richard, about the show?
Yeah, I've been getting that all the time too. Like I go out and I was just at the doctor's office yesterday, and the doctor was telling his nurse, this guy's on the TV show. You know the TV show? And she was like, what show? And I told her The Bear, and she was like, oh my god, I tell everybody they just have to watch this show. And I'm like, okay, and yeah, people tell me that like it's so real. Like some people that they can't like some people they just binge watch it, and then some people they have to watch like a little at a time because they've worked in that industry and it seems so real to them. And I don't know. And then you get like Chicago. People in Chicago, they love to see Chicago represented, and
yeah,
I think it did good in representing Chicago as well.
You ever have a job like that, Richard? I think earlier you said you had a. Did you say Dominos? Did you say you had a job at Dominos earlier? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's the only restaurant I ever worked at was Dominos, and I was just delivering pizzas there. I never worked any other kind of restaurant job besides doing.
But did you ever have like a high stress job like The Bear? It gives me anxiety when I watch these people work. Like
yeah, that's what people say.
yeah, it's crazy. Do you have a connection to Jeremy Allen White? Because he's obviously a big part of Shameless. I think you were a part of Shameless as well. Do you guys know each other, or is it just a coincidence that you're associated with the same projects?
Yeah, it's just a coincidence.
Oh, okay.
I had worked on one episode of Shameless. And,
yeah.
I remember I was on base camp and I was waiting for the driver to take me on set, and another actor that was working with me. We saw Jeremy over there on. He was just sitting down, just taking a break, and we were like, the other actor was like, "Yeah, you want to go say hi to him real quick? Since we're working on Shameless on the show." And I was like, "Sure, let's go." And then the next thing I said, "Driver's here, driver's ready." So we never got to say hi to him.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, I tell him what I'm telling you now, that I almost met you a couple years ago.
He's such a talented guy. Let me ask you, you play Manny, obviously, and is it as much anxiety as I get they make such a great. It's like the best dysfunctional team I've ever seen. Right? Everyone's doing everything. Everyone's got their own things about them. Everyone's, you would never think they would work together. But that last episode is beautiful. And I'll talk about that in a second. But talk about Manny, Richard. How would you describe Manny to somebody who's never seen the show at all?
Manny is a guy who he's a dishwasher. He takes his job very serious. Knows what he does. He comes to work every day. Looks at everybody at the restaurant as his family.
Yep.
We eat together, we work together. We disagree at times, we bump heads, but we're family. That's how I see it as far as Manny.
Yeah,
he's a simple guy. Doesn't expect much out of life, but what he does have in life, he enjoys.
And Richard, I would also say this: he doesn't speak much, but when he does speak, you better listen. Like, right. When he talks, he's one of those people. He doesn't say much, but when he does, people stop and listen. Right.
Right.
Yeah. How'd you land the parts? You're so perfect for it. How'd you land
it? Well, just auditioned for it, just like any other audition I've had before. I went through PR casting. I've had many auditions with them before, so they're familiar with me.
Yeah, and I got to tell you that that episode it's a long, like, in the middle episodes it's tough because it's a lot of negativity, it's a lot of anxiety, the camera work, you feel like you're right there. That last couple of scenes that I was really taken back by was the pasta dinner at the end. You talk about family, you talk about team. Right. How from when they discover what's and I'll be careful what I say here. When they discover what's in the cans to the pasta dinner, like, it all comes together, and it's like beautiful. It's a beautiful moment. It's beautiful TV showing. It's just great, right?
Right. Yeah. That's my favorite episode to watch because everybody comes together. When we're eating the pasta, everybody's like laughing and enjoying each other's company, eating good food, and it's just a great moment. Even when we were filming it, it felt like a great moment, and then just watching it on TV, it was right. It was just perfect the way it was all it came out.
Richard, is that weird? So I mean, obviously we don't see what's going on behind the scenes, but like, it's a very anxious show. It's very tense. When they cut, do people just kind of like take it? And I get it. It's acting, people. It's a TV show. I get it. But like, is it weird to see somebody go from 0 to 100 in like 3 seconds? Like, is it, because that's what I feel like it is. Is it weird behind the scenes?
No, not to me. I'm used to it. I hopefully they're not still like.
Yeah. But I guess it's hard for me to picture because I've never been on your end of things. Like right. How somebody can actually go from just very tense yelling and screaming, and then cut and go back to, hey, what's up? How you doing? like I can't picture that. I can't.
I've seen them like screaming and yelling and then cut, and they're on their cell phone.
I don't know how you do it. Like, and I got to tell you who drove me nuts, Richard. Not the actor, but the character. I mean, I'm glad the last episode made him a little bit better, but Cousin Richie was very difficult to process. Like, okay. I was like, why aren't they firing his ass? Like, he is so bad. Just talk about a few of the people you worked with in their performances, whatever you wanted to say, Richard, as you're just reflecting on the show.
Well, as far as Evan, Richie was a straight up dick.
You said it.
And when I read the script, I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to see how he brings this character to life. Because just reading it, it was just like, oh my God, this dude is so fucked up. Like I remember when I was younger, somebody asked me how was it to be a dick all my life because my name is Richard.
I get it. Yeah.
And I thought of his character that when he asked me that, I was like, okay, I see what he meant those years ago. By like, this guy brought it to life. He knew how to be that dick, and he did a great job with all of them. Even like I liked all the characters, the way everybody represented themselves, like Liza, the way Jeff and all that,
Yeah.
And you know the way she would talk, like you know, she was like the smallest one there, and she was like the one like, you know, you cut like a bitch, like you know,
Yeah. But you know what I love though, Richard, is especially with like you and like cousin Richie, and then in the show Carmi, I feel like their faces, they wear, I don't want to get too over the top, but like not wear pain, but you could tell in their face. It's not just what's coming out of their mouth, it's how they look too. It's their expressions. It's, I don't know. It's just so beautiful to see. Like you could tell there's pain in their face, and I know it's acting, but it's pain in their faces and your faces. But it's like it's just combined with this beautiful dialogue. It's just such a successful recipe, Richard.
Yeah, I agree with you. They did a great job, especially expressing it. They were like they did it great. Jeremy, as far as you know, the way he was dealing with his brother and whatever, and trying to run the restaurant and everything he was going through, he did a great job. And like you said, Richie, oh my God, him,
Yeah.
And then, you know, what's his name? Lionel playing Marcus with the donuts, like so obsessed with it, and like.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny too because Richard, for most of this show, it's a sad story. Like John Bernthal, I mean, and I'm going to be careful what I say here, but you know, it's a sad, like it's a tough thing to watch. Like people are going through pain. Like the last episode is, like you said, is marvelous, but before that, there's a lot of pain in this show. There's a lot of characters carrying a lot of pain in their shoulders and their hearts. It's a tough show to watch in that regard, not because it's bad, but you can feel these characters suffering.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
definitely can.
Yeah. What can you say about how long? Before I get to that, how long was the entire shoot for you from start to finish?
We filmed the pilot episode in July, 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not sure, and then came back in the winter, like in February through the end of March. Filmed the rest of the episodes.
And was it every day? Was it you know, how long were the days, or did it differ depending on what was going on?
Yeah, it was every day, pretty much.
Wow. So I have to ask you, and I don't know what you could say, but season 2 is, I mean, people are in high demand for season 2.
Right.
There is no reason that everyone can't come back together, right? So I want to be careful. I don't want to get you in trouble, but like for season 2, and I don't know how much talk there's been, but I'm hoping everyone comes back. What can you say, Richard? And if there's nothing you can say, I get that too.
All I know is this is supposed to come back in 2023. That's all the information I have right now. I don't know anything else.
Well, I better see Manny in season 2. That's all I'm saying. Like that's
okay.
That's
make sure they see this so they can know.
Yeah. So what's around the corner for you? Not necessarily the bear, but what's around the corner for you as far as projects, as far as anything you wanted to throw out there, whatever you want to say, Richard.
Okay. Well, I did also just work on a film with Danny Trejo and Efren Ramirez. 7 Cemeteries. It's kind of like a Western action horror comedy put in together. Danny Trejo plays an ex-convict, just gets out of prison.
Yeah.
He's helping somebody save a ranch, and a Mexican witch gives him something that allows him to bring his friends back to life from the grave. And so he goes out to these cemeteries and brings people back to life to help save the farm.
Nice. I love the premise. Do you have a chance to like break down, just talk shop with Danny Trejo about acting and life? Are those moments available, or is the shooting just too strict to have that happen?
No, I hung out with him. He took the whole cast out to dinner, and
wow.
Yeah, we had a good time out there. We went. We filmed last October, like September and October of last year, and then we came back in May to fill in some scenes. So, we kicked it a couple of times. We were in Oklahoma filming, so yeah, we got to see the city out there and just hang out and get to know each other. Like, yeah, pretty much all kind of hung out with each other when we were on set. So
Efren was in Napoleon Dynamite, right? He was Pedro in Napoleon. Yeah. I mean, your Facebook is for those listening or watching. Richard's Facebook page is full of all this stuff. I have your Instagram on here, Richard. Is there any other thing you want to throw out there? Do you use your Twitter a lot? Instagram? Is it just a mixture of things you use?
Yeah, I'm on either Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at Richard Esteras.
Richard, what have you? Last question, and thank you for all this time, by the way. Richard, what have you loved most about this ride in acting? What have you loved most about just being an actor? You could tell you love it. You could, I could tell on screen just watching you how much you love your craft and doing what you're doing. What do you love most about it? What's your favorite part of it?
Just bringing a character to life. Just everything about it. I just enjoy everything. It's just putting it together, watching everybody else do their thing, and connecting, and
the whole process. It sounds like
the whole process, pretty much watching it come out and getting the reviews from it. Just listening. I look and see what people say about the bear, and I just enjoy it. It's just it's fun. It's something that I feel like I could have done many years ago if I had known how to get into it.
But you know what? You're in the right place right now, and you're where you should be. What does your daughter and family say about the show? Are they proud of their dad or grandfather? Are they proud? They must be super proud of you.
Yeah, they are. Their friends are always asking them to ask me when the season 2 coming out.
Oh, Richard, you're so much fun to talk to. Thank you so much for all this time, Richard. I hope you come back down the road. I thank you for this time, and I thank you for setting this up and sticking with me and talking with me. You're just a good man, a great actor, and I appreciate every second of it.
Hey, thank you, and thank you for having me as well.
Thank you for listening to Derek Thomas and Monday Morning Critic Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, you can also connect with Monday Morning Critic on Instagram and Facebook, MDM Critic on Twitter, subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever podcasts are found. All episodes available, www.mmcpodcast.com.